Okay, everyone, today I'm not going to show you my face because my face is not prepared for anything. Just wanted to come and share about my day. Like, who cares? But I know some of you do care. So, these past couple of days, I cannot use the words I used to express how my days were, so they be a little more tactful in how I speak and how I represent myself. But, anyways, so yeah, the past 2 days have been like insane. And so I'm going to touch on something and then share my day with you all. So I've already told you I'll be talking about my mental health, physical health, and sharing things about, my personal life, and then also sharing things about my conversion into Christ. And you get to watch the nature outside my window. You probably can hear the birds chirping. I love just sitting here listening to the birds right outside my window because I'm right here in the back of my apartment, which is like a lot of wooded area. And I have a lot of blue jays and red robins and some other funny colored cute birds. And this one, he's always bold. He always teases my cats because he knows he irritates them. They can't get out the screen window. But anyways, enough of that random talk. So today I'm going to touch on my mental health and talk about my mental health. And the reason I'm doing these videos, and I've explained it before, is that I just want to share with people who may be struggling with the same issues, and just to share a little hope that, keep going, keep pushing. So I have bipolar disorder 2. I have insomnia, and then I also suffer with anxiety, general anxiety disorder there. So with that combination, you can pretty much understand I am a total introvert, first of all. That's just my first nature. My temperament is more leaning towards melancholic, but I do, I guess, dabble a bit in phlegmatic, but for the most part, dominant is melancholy. So I like staying to myself. Don't like going out unless I have to. I've been venturing out recently because I go to my Bible studies. I go to church on Sunday. In between time, I hang with my dad and my step diva. So I do those kind of things. Outside of that, I don't push to go party. I don't make new friends. I like being alone. So pretty much I stay to myself. Really don't get into no crowds. And like I said, I don't make new friends and nothing like that. So with my bipolar disorder, sometimes most people have, depending on which one you have, I have 2. Some people are bipolar 1, but I associate myself with more bipolar 2. And there's like several different other, types of bipolar, I guess you can say. And my phone is letting me know I have a weak connection. So if it cuts off some words, I do apologize. It's a weak connection. If my neighbor walks by, I'll turn the phone towards my door like this, because sometimes he randomly walks by. But anyway, so anywho, so what am I about to say? I just lost my train of thought. So that's something happens sometimes too. Like my mind is like a blank canvas. I'm telling you right now. Sometimes I just forget things. I could be mid conversation and be mid flight out. Okay, so like I said, I'm bipolar 2. So sometimes conversations I have with people may be interpreted different. Sometimes my emotions might try to rule over what is sometimes logic, but then I know how to come back. Some people don't have that kind of control, or have not mastered that kind of control of themselves, of they let their emotions just go ahead and rule the whole thing and explode. I don't allow myself to get to that point. I try not to. I mean, I've been in situations where I, had to argue, had to fuss and fight and things like that. But I do my best to not even come to that. I'd rather go be alone, sit alone, and be in my own space versus having any confrontation. I don't like confrontation, or I try my best not to be involved in any confrontation. So, with that being said, for the past, week or two, when I have my depression episodes, because I don't have manic episodes, I'm mostly depressive. So that's why I associate myself with more 2 than 1. I have more depressive episodes, more lows than highs. And, I really don't never get high, or I might say hypomania, if that. Sometimes I might, and with hypomania for me is like, when I feel like I can conquer the world, I can achieve anything, I have that up sometimes. And that only comes, sometimes when I have it, I try to do my work then that I want to do, or get out, creative projects that I want to work on, because that's my highest points. But I'm never like I said, manic and, do things on the fly like that. Sometimes I am impulsive, but not to that nature, or reckless, I would say. Sometimes I am reckless, irresponsible, but not to the extreme or excessive, I wouldn't say. But, my own opinion. You make some stray cats. I got stray kitties outside, and he's a cute one too. Big kitty. Anyways, so so I don't have the extremes. And when I have my lows, I definitely want to, stay in the house, stay to myself. I don't want to be bothered with people. I'm very irritable sometimes, and that's a problem, then on top of having anxiety, because, I can run into an anxiety attack or run into a panic attack. And I associate my anxiety attacks with racing thoughts, my mind taking me out of control. Or, when it comes to the panic attacks, I feel more that it is physical. Like I can feel my heart coming out my chest, and I can't tell whether it's, sometimes either a heart attack, or if it could be just, panic attack, so I feel it more physical when I have my panic attacks, versus the anxiety is more, mental for me. So, having that combination, like I said, and then not getting sleep definitely makes me an irritable person. So these past few days, like I said, it's been extreme. People could say the slightest thing to me, and yeah, my cat just jumped in the way. So sorry, he's gonna block part of the nature window scene, because that's what Pepper does. He likes to be part of the show always. You gotta check out the other cat to get off his territory. So, people say the slightest things, and it puts me in a whole bad mood. Like, my mood is was bad, and it's for no reason, because people probably don't even mean how they speak to you. It just comes out. That's how they communicate. But then inside mine, I feel offended, or I feel like I just want to get away from that person. So I past few days, people have been seeming very weird to me, and it could, like I said, be my interpretation about, because even today I had a doctor's appointment just to get my med refills, and like I said, I showed you I have bipolar, so I had to go get my medicine refills for that purpose. And my appointment's going to be scheduled at 8, but the doctor doesn't walk in until 9 o'clock for some reason. I'm like, why schedule me at 8? And then, I don't get to see him until like 9:15, 9:30. And I'm like, this is, a bunch of bull, and I had to sit there for basically two and a half hours, because I had, counting the time I had to wait for the cab. So by the time I get home, it's 11 o'clock. So I just spent 3 to 4 hours of my day, because I caught the cab at 7 this morning. So 3 to 4 hours of my day just to get a medicine refill. And I told him, I said, because I think my medicine is starting to become a little stable, even though I'm still emotional right now, but that's just bipolar. No medicine, there's no magical pill that's going to take care of it. It's just something, when I go through my depressive episodes, when I go through my lows, I just have to ride it out like a roller coaster ride. And it's not that anyone can save me or help me. No one can. It's for me to ride it out by myself. And me and my emotions, So, and sorry if the camera falls or whatever, but so that right there, that peed me off this morning. He could tell I was very agitated, because first of all, I didn't get enough sleep last night. He has me on sleep medicine for my insomnia, and it starts me off to go to sleep, but then I still wake up 2, 3 in the morning, either from racing thoughts or, just for whatever. My mind just wakes me up. I'm just up. And I try to force myself to go back to sleep, but y'all all know it takes about an hour or 2 hours to go back to sleep. But then I had to still get up at 6 this morning. So talking about getting up at 3 o'clock, and I couldn't close my eyes to 4:30. Really pissed me off having to get up this morning. When I heard my alarm, it's just like, are you serious right now? I was so pissed off from that, and so tired. I yawned the whole time while I'm sitting at an appointment, because basically it's just a medicine refill, and I try not to complain. I don't want this to be video to be woe is me. I want people to understand this, explaining, how my day is, because people sometimes also use bipolar as an adjective, and it's not just a word. I'm not bipolar. I have bipolar. I should have rephrased how I said that. I have bipolar disorder. I am not bipolar. It's just, part of my character flaw. Flaw, if you want to call it that. Everybody has flaws. We're imperfect, but we're perfectible. It's one thing I'm learning. So, I want people to understand that. And then the bipolar, I don't want people to see it as a bad thing, because as soon as you tell people you have a mood disorder or that you're bipolar, they decide that you're a crazy person, or, reserve how they speak to you and talk to you. Don't walk on eggshells with me. And that's why I'm not what I'm asking people, because it's going to be a daily battle whether I speak to you or not. You don't have to bait me or not like that, but it would be considerate for people to be respectful, you would think. But you have to realize also, one thing I think logically, I understand that people are not raised the same. So I think I'm more tolerable than people. And most people can't tell that I have bipolar, because like I said, I have a lot of control. And those only time you might see my symptoms that when I'm very depressed and my face, I don't have the smile going down, and like today's not the day to see my face for a multitude of reasons, and that's one of them. I don't want people to see me sad or looking, woe is me or pitiful or not like that. And I'm not going to have a, whole big out pity party, because I do have pity parties. I have to have those moments where I have my pity party and I get over it and then I move on. So that's what I normally have to do to ride the roller coaster. I just have to ride it. It's no, I tell people, I've become Christian. And I'm not going to say God does not help me, because he does. He gives me another day, another chance to be able to begin anew. So, and obviously I have a purpose to be here. And this could be one of the purposes, is to share and give people hope and let them know this, getting out of here is not the last, you're not hopeless. You don't have to be hopeless, So, being trusting God, has helped my anxiety a huge much. The medicine is tipped a little bit, because medicine alone, like I said, it's not, there's no miracle pill. And even with the medicine, at one point I was still thinking about, trying to do other alternatives on top of that medicine, because I felt like it really wasn't working. But once I started into church, of course, it made a big difference. I had a big relief. When I do get the opportunity to fellowship, like I said, 'cause I don't go out a lot, I don't like making new friends. But me going to church on Sunday, or me going to Bible study, to me is fellowshipping. So I get to see my sisters and brothers, have a little encouragement, and then walk away and come back, to my own little cave and hide out. So, I haven't done any big, huge time fellowshipping or anything like that. But like I said, just knowing that God has my back no matter what, I always have a friend in Jesus has been a big deal to me, because I look around sometimes like I don't have no friends. I have, and I shouldn't really worry about having flesh worldly connections anyways. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't, I made a mistake many times of putting my happiness in somebody else's hand and thinking people would treat you how you treat them, or go all out for you like you go all out for them. And believe me, doesn't matter how many years, you can know somebody for 20, 30, 40 years, and they still would do you raw, man. Some people just do you dirty because that's just how they are. And then when you come to terms with that, then you have to understand that it's not that you're a bad person. Because basically I beat myself up first, especially if I lose friends and things like that. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Am I, doing something wrong? And then, no, it's not always you. Sometimes you're surrounded by jerks or people who are inconsiderate. You know what I'm saying? And don't have your best interest in mind, and don't have your wants or needs in mind. They're onto that me stuff. So I know I'm randomly going off like this is not an order how I talk. I'm talking this random. So if you're looking for straight bipolar or straight anxiety talk or whatever, or straight church talk or Christ talk, I'm just random right now. I'm just blabbling. Basically, I should say, just random thoughts out there. Like I said, whoever cares to listen, you can. If not, you know what to do. Don't just pass it up. But yeah, having bipolar, I've lost a lot of friends with my depression and bipolar. I really have. I could touch on that real quick. And, it's not just of recent. It's been years down the line. I realize sometimes I push people away. If people disappoint me, I distance myself very, very quickly, because I have a real strong problem with rejection, which I'll talk about that in another video another day. Rejection is a huge problem to me. Being disappointed when someone said they'll do something or be there, and they don't. I really have a big, huge problem with being disappointed, and it's because I set my expectations, like some people would do as I would do unto them, and I have to realize people don't do you like you do them at all. So I have to really have an understanding, which, like I said, here I go again. I know Bible talk, right? But like I said, I love the Lord. So for me, it's a big change. I've become more understanding. And so I get outside of myself and don't think of just myself, because I have to put myself aside sometimes and really get an understanding of how people are and what they do and things like that, and be understanding versus judgmental. Like, how can that person do me like that? I have to get out of that me situation too, because sometimes I can get there and be like, being at me and be pissed off, but I don't let myself, like I said, I don't let myself get there. It's very rare that I get there. Like, I've had my moments for the past couple of weeks where I've been riding the roller coaster of depression and things like that from my bipolar, and I've been looking past, and it's basically because I did some self-reflection, and it's sometimes that self-reflection, because I'm sometimes my own enemy, which I'm learning to get up out of that, and it's not going to snap just like that, because I've built this for years. I've built so much hate against myself since I was young, since I was a kid. So, I've always had symptoms of depression. I was diagnosed with depression when I was 12. And so I was diagnosed with bipolar when I was early 30s. So it's been about 4 or 5 years I was officially diagnosed. I'm pretty sure it's been a long time, because I've always had mood swings. I just didn't know what to relate it to, you know what I mean? Or I didn't, really know what the term bipolar was. So I was, like I said, diagnosed in my early 30s and early 30s, late 20s with bipolar disorder. So I started the, medicine trail, and sometimes I jumped off the medicine, which I want to tell people, when you're prescribed on medicine, stick to your medicine. I will say that much, because I know jumping off of medicine and trying to jump back on is a very hard leap in between. You might get discouraged, and you have to really, like I said, you have to really, really, really want to stick to it. And stay on your medicine, like I said, because it eventually down the road, it might not seem like it's working at first, and it might take several weeks. I'm still, he's changing the increase in my medicine. So right now we're going to stay stable on the numbers that I've had, but we've had to increase numbers on some of my medicines to help my mood, because I was getting too low. And I know sometimes when I get too low, I don't want to leave the house, and then I don't want to clean my house. I know it's like TMI, but like I said, I'm sharing all out. I'm not gonna hide nothing. So basically, I'm an open book. So sometimes I don't feel like cleaning my house or things like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get too stocked up with that. And I don't live filthy at all, nowhere near it. But sometimes, to me, I just need to get my butt in gear and clean up the house. But yeah, I've been, like I said, officially diagnosed. So it's like been kind of hard. I've been trying to learn how to manage that, and really trying hard to stay on my medicine, which I have been. When did I start taking my medicine? I think it was November, no, I want to say December is when I first really officially started medicine. So I've been on a pretty stable since January. So, only 4 months. It made, and we've been increasing my medicine since that time frame. Because I had to start at a low dosage, and then they move you up a little bit depending on what medicine you're on. So I only take one pill for for my mood disorder, my bipolar, and of course I have one medicine for my anxiety and one pill for insomnia. So 3 medicines for mental health. I'm not even gonna count the other medicine for my physical health. We'll talk about that another day. But with the anxiety, I'll be scared to meet people, scared to go places, scared even go on my own, go alone to places. Like, I don't need to, and it's so crazy because it's so contradictory, because I don't want to be around people, but I don't want to be alone. So it's like, that's the biggest thing. And I know I jumped off the subject about friends, but like I said, let me go back to that real quick, because I know I'm everywhere. Like I told you, it's random. So, I've lost friends from pulling away from people, because people have disappointed me or, took advantage of me. And I've had to, my thing versus, like I told you, I don't like confrontation. So either I silence people out and just distance myself and stop associating with folks. And that's basically how I do. I just walk away, because, and apparently, if they don't reach out, they know they've done wrong to you. Because most people, who really care, hey, you haven't talked to me in so long. What's up with you? You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I've lost so many friends over the year. People that I've called sisters, people that I said I've loved and I really would take a bullet for, or really would do anything for them. You know, and like I said, some, still stay in touch. They might like my photos on Facebook, but it's not like we sit there and message each other. You know what I'm saying? There's countless people. But that's life, because people grow up, people change, because I had a lot of maturing to do myself, even me being 34. And people say, maturity has nothing to do with age. I'll tell you that right now. If you stick on being petty or stuck on doing stupid stuff in childish ways, then you need to mature. So that's one thing I think with me going through the journey that I'm going through as far as my conversion into Christ is it's been maturing, being more understanding of people and not being so judgmental. Because I might not say nothing out loud, but I used to be I'm still sometimes judgmental about people. Like, how can someone do that, or how can someone be this way, and I have to be more understanding of where that person is coming from or how people are. So, yeah, but as far as bipolar, I'm going to tell people, just take your medicine, stay strong, and get some kind of support system. If you can't get a support system, like how I have a small support system right now, a very small support system, but it's very strong. It's very mighty. And I'm building new friends, even though I don't like meeting new people. I'm not fully letting people in, but I'm starting to, shed a layer or two with people who are trying to come in and be friends and be true friends. Wanting nothing from you, having no personal agenda, not seeing what they can get out the deal. Just somebody who just really, really, really genuinely, people who genuinely care and genuinely reach out to you with with it not being inconvenient, not feeling like you're inconveniencing them. So I don't like being a burden to people. I don't like feel like I'm inconveniencing people. Really, Pepper? Honestly. Chill out, boy. So, that kind of thing. So I'm just hoping, down the line I could trust people, really trust people, because I don't trust no one. There's always been a rule since I was young, when I had depression, and when I used to stay in my room so many hours. I would go to school, come home. Some of the neighbors didn't even know my mom had another daughter, because I would hide in the house so much, and even when I got jobs, I would go to school, go to work, and then come home and hide. Stay in my room, So no one knew I really existed. Even through high school, nobody really knew I existed. I was just a hi and bye girl, is what you would call me. Somebody who says hi, somebody says bye as they walk in and keep moving. Like I said, I don't have any big associations. I don't have any best friends, I don't have any deep relationships. I mean, I have a few women I consider to be my sisters, but I don't think I have a deep relationships anymore as like I used to. Because I just know I've pulled back from a lot of people. But that's sometimes what bipolar does. You perceive things your way, and then you withdraw from a lot of people. And I know I'm like 23 minutes in on rambling. I really am. But I just want people to feel free to share their story and not feel so afraid about who you are. Don't let people leave you with that stigma because you're depressed or you're